This is a challenging teaching from Jesus. As he has traveled, many people have come to follow him for many different reasons, possibly for food, to be healed, to learn, or just because it is a crowd and they can go along in relative safety, or perhaps to grow in understanding and faith in God. Today, Jesus is challenging each one in the crowd and us to consider our choices, the depth of our commitments and willingness to put faith to the test. It is a winnowing of the crowd, from followers to discipleship. When one chooses to follow Jesus, discipleship becomes priority. Trust is fully in God, and each choice from then on is considered in light of serving God. Yet even if one tries to consider all the cost of the choice, we can never fully know what will be required of us. We can only surmise as the journey is revealed in the moment, and each decision is made centered on choosing to be a disciple. Choice is a theme throughout today's lessons. Living life in God is a choice. God desires your love, your total devotion, and full dedication. And it is a choice for the Israelites to obey the commandments given by God as they prepare to enter the Promised Land. If they do obey the commandments, then they will have life and prosperity. If not, then death and adversity. We know the first 4 commandments speak to loving and honoring God, and the remaining 6 speak to relationship with others. Choosing a life in faith begins with loving God and neighbor. The choice of God above all else is as much a challenge for us today as it was then. It is a choice that is made every moment of every day. And it is a choice for Philemon. As Paul writes him from prison, Paul requests Philemon to receive and welcome his runaway slave Onesimus as a brother in Christ. It is a test of faith, of Christian brotherly love. Tradition in that time would have been to punish Onesimus by whipping him, or worse. And so we can only imagine what the internal struggles would be for Philemon as Paul asked him to receive Onesimus as a Christian brother in love. How will that look to society? How will that affect his relationship with his other slaves? Paul asked him to do just that, to receive Onesimus in Christian love as a brother, forgiving any transgressions. And in this story, Paul is trusting Philemon. God is testing, and love is the plumb line. In the first century, Christian communities were small groups of people choosing to dedicate their lives to Christ. And at that time, often that would mean choosing faith community over family relationships. Worship was an underground event, literally. In Rome, they met in the catacombs, underground, or they met in private homes or out-of-the-way places, always in secret to remain safe. Faith was strong as it was continually challenged and tested by the authorities and even their neighbors. All they had was each other. And the mark of Christian faith was hospitality, welcoming the stranger in love and sitting down at table to share food, provide shelter, clothing, and care. To do so was to be in communion with one another because their lives depended upon one another, and they knew that fact intimately. Even today, when you go to a third world country, like when we journey to Africa, if someone admires something you have, the tradition is to take it off and give it to the person. Whatever you have is for the good of the whole. It is a gift from God entrusted to your care. And that goes back to early Christian tradition. Sheltering was to bring someone into your home, not put them up somewhere, to give them the clothes off your back or out of your own resources. Bring them to your table. It was during World War II that many communities throughout Europe, especially La Chambon in France, took in privately, secretly, Jewish people. The Christian community helped the Jewish refugees along their way. They took in children as their own, passing them off as Christian to protect and save them. Over the centuries, we've forgotten this level of relationship, of hospitality. As human beings have created social service agencies, hospitals, hospices, hostels, all come from that word hospitality, to provide food and shelter and care. In doing so, the intimacy of what it means to be in loving community with those who struggle, simply to live, has been lost and confounded. Now I'm reading this book right now. I got it from Sheila when I was on sabbatical, and it's called Making Room, Recovering Hospitality as a Christian Tradition by Christine D. Pohl. And I started reading it while on sabbatical and was taken by it. And when I got home, I put it on my table, I let it sit. And it's just been staring at me. And I had to pick it up again. But I had to go back and start at the beginning. Because we are so far away from what Christian hospitality began as. And my heart needs to be shifted and changed. I want it to be changed. These past few years have been challenging. And I need to be changed. Do you? My heart needs to be opened in a new way. This book provides an opportunity to explore the history and changes. We are offered the chance to reclaim Christian hospitality, to remake and shape it for our own hearts to be broken open and our world to be served. Our brothers and sisters in this world. You and I have the opportunity to choose to reflect upon relationship with neighbors and with God through reading and studying this book. It's one way. The bottom line is, God desires your love, neighbors need our love, and we need one another. It is a choice to live in love, fully, wholly, no exceptions. You or I can't do it alone. Let's do it together. Let's choose to do it together.